finished my first impressions of receiving the Finalmouse in the mail. I'll go ahead and go over to my channel so I can, this is a live show, so I want to respond to any questions that I might be getting while this is going. But, so the reason why I'm doing this immediately following my other live stream is because I went to see some information about the inside of this mouse, and there's like no information online. So I was like, okay, guess I'll just do what I do best, which is take it apart and show you guys it, because apparently everybody's so afraid of taking apart their gaming mice. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and unplug it so it's not powered on. I don't know where the screw location is, but I'll pry up. Looks like there's a quality control sticker here. For those of you guys who care, these QC stickers with the little like sundial looking thing on them, if you look at the markings, 16 is crossed out because it was manufactured 2016, and then 4 is crossed out. So this guy was manufactured April 2016. Alright. It doesn't feel like there's a screw underneath the quality control sticker, so the screw is probably underneath the mouse feet. I'm guessing the rear mouse feet. I'm just guessing, that's usually where they are. So I'm going to very gently pry up the feet. Alright. Yep, I see a screw. Okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it on something that, oh, here we go. I have wax. Oh, you guys are going to judge me. Would wax paper from gum work? You know what? I'm not going to risk it. I'll stick it to something metallic. Here we go. Make sure that there's no dust on it. Okay. See, there you can see the screw. Now this might have 4 screws on it. I'm not entirely sure. I hope not. I hope it's just 2. Honestly, I hate how mouse manufacturers put the screws underneath the feet. I understand it. The idea is, first of all, your product's going to look better because you don't see any screws. And second of all, it's a way to prevent tampering, like, you know, I'm doing right now. But still, come on, guys. Okay, this is stuck in there. There we go. So you can see the bottom of the shell is going to be kind of tricky to get out because there's no real ledge for you to grab onto, but it looks like I'm getting the hang of it. Alright. Cool. There we go. Alright, so now we can see the insides. Ooh, that pretty black PCB. Okay. So, taking a look at the inside, we can see left and right mouse button are, I'll unplug this so I can give you guys an even closer look. You know what? I'm not going to actually. I'm going to keep it together for now. There you go. Micro switches, if my camera focuses, are Omron D2FC-F-7Ns. These are pretty darn standard. They're a light, high-pitched click switch. They're very common. Basically all Logitech mice use them. However, you'll notice, you know what, I'll go ahead and do this for you guys. So here's a Logitech G400 and an MX510 shell. I'm just going to show you guys, if I can get this back together, that the shell makes a bit of a difference with the switches. So even though both of these mice use the same switch, have a listen. So you can hear the Finalmouse sounds a little bit more hollow. And also it sounds, I don't know if it sounds this way, but it definitely feels more tactile. This one feels a little bit more springy, mushy. And the reason for that is the shell design. So, you know, with this mouse, I'm bending this big piece of plastic is what I'm bending when I press down, versus on this, you can see it's segmented right there. So I'm not bending as much plastic. And they're both actually in very good contact with the switch, which is very nice. You know, you want the plastic to be sitting right on top of the switch, so you don't have any like dead zone like you do on the SteelSeries Ikari before the mouse plastic actually comes in contact with the switch. So these actually sound kind of a bit too loud for my taste. I like quieter switches, which is, if you listen to this, see how this one sounds lower pitched compared to the left mouse. That's because I switched one of the internal switches on there. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. So it does look like Finalmouse. I know that they had a lot of quality control issues in the past, and that's why you see here, you see the black tape around the sensor. That's to help keep the sensor in place. I'm not going to bother peeling that up. Taking a look at the cable, looks like it does use the standard 5-pin connector, but just to double check, I want to see if the pinout is the same as what's found on Logitech mice, because Logitech, I'm pretty sure, used the industry standard. So here's a Razer cable that we can compare, and here's a Logitech. Oh, that's a PS2 cable. Alright, I know I have a Logitech cable in here somewhere. There we go. Okay. So, looks like the pinout goes... Okay, yep, it is different from the Logitech. Again, same connector, but different pinout, so you want to be careful when you're replacing cables. Yeah, well, I'll just show you guys there. You guys can see. Colors are slightly different, the order. Let's compare it to a Razer cable. Nope, still different from a Razer cable as well. So that's a bit of a bummer. That means that if you want to swap out the mouse cable, which you probably will because the cable on the Finalmouse, at least on mine, kind of sucks. I mean, I got mine used off of eBay, which is usually, like, one of the nice parts about that is it means that the cables are well broken in. Well, mine wasn't. My Finalmouse wasn't used very much, so the cable's still very stiff. It really holds its shape. I'm actually kind of disappointed with that. I don't know what the fetish is with braided cables nowadays. Like, my G400S cable is fantastic, and it's the rubber. So you guys can see the scroll wheel uses a mechanical encoder. It's not a, it's not like the optical kind. It looks like the micro switch for the mouse click wheel. If you guys can see that, it's white. I know it's hard to see because of the clear backing and because my camera won't focus, but it is indeed white under there. And the manufacturer is, I don't know, I'll show it to you. It's some Chinese manufacturer. There you go. So there's like a D shape on it versus the Omron ones say Omron on them. As far as yeah, I don't think I can take that out without taking out the PCB. I don't really feel like taking out the PCB just now. But that switch itself is a very heavy switch. So something I might do is I might switch that switch out for a, if I really like my Finalmouse, is I might switch it out for a lighter switch. Looks like the side switch assembly, I can unscrew that for you guys. The side switches feel very good. They're a little bit on the heavier side, but that's typically desirable so that if when you're lifting the mouse that you don't accidentally actuate. They also have good contact with the switches. They feel responsive. Looks like the LED's connected to that as well. Alright, so now we can see the DPI switch is this top one. It just uses one of those standard black push button switches. Nothing too phenomenal, but that's okay because if you're worried about the tactility of your DPI switching button, then you have interesting priorities. It's the same manufacturer for these switches. It's like a D shape that's like into a snake, and these are red, and these are a little bit lower actuation, and they feel pretty much like a TTC red switch. We can also take a look at the side buttons. Here are just a thin plastic piece that bends. Honestly, it's pretty alright, but if something that you don't like about the side switches, if you take a look here, the side switches, they are fairly angled and sharp. You guys can see that ridge. Oh crap. The ridge that's along them is fairly sharp, especially this corner right here. I can't do too much with my webcam here, but if you guys go and Google search Finalmouse Ergo, you'll see some pictures. They are fairly sharp, but I mean, you can take this out, you can take a Dremel to it, you can sand it down or something so that it's smoothed out, and that's pretty easy to do here. It just slides right on out of the top shell and slides back in. Yep. Doesn't really look like there is a little bit of potential for weight reduction that I'm seeing. So if you're the kind of person like me who has a crazy thing about cutting up your mice like this to reduce the weight, it looks like there is some potential for that. If you look on the bottom of this, we have small mouse feet, which is good because that means I can cut, if you look at my G400, I had to leave this mouse foot here, and I had to leave room for the 2 other mouse feet, which are pretty big. On here you have small ones, so that means you can potentially cut out a lot of the space here and reduce the weight. It's not a particularly thick plastic though, so I don't really know. If you were to Swiss cheese this bottom piece up, you'd probably only reduce the weight by like 3 or 4 grams, because it's really more like 3 grams, because it's really not much surface area. It's a very small bottom of the mouse. The top shell is fairly light, so I don't think you'd be able to do too much here, except I am noticing this top shell is 2 pieces. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pop it out, but you can see I removed a single screw from right where my screwdriver is pointing, and that'll release this. This is a 2-piece body. One piece is this glossy black, and the other piece is the textured rubberized gray that you see. And so I figure that unscrewing that screw will allow me to pop it off, but I'm not going to force it off. I'm sure you could remove it, but oh, there's a clip on the back right here. That's that's there. See if I can push that clip off. Typically these are very rigid. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to mess around too much with it. It definitely can come off. I just don't really feel like forcing any of it right now, so I'm not going to. So I'm just going to put this screw back in its original hole. It's funny though, it just goes to show, there's all this hype about the Finalmouse, and all it is you can go on eBay, you search MotoSpeed V2, and you can get the same exact shell for literally $12 shipped from China. So, like, it's out there. All Finalmouse did is they had some coders and programmers mess around with the sensor, improve click latency, put in an actually good sensor. This uses the 3310 optical, which is a great sensor. No acceleration, low liftoff distance, high max tracking speed of like 5.4. I don't know exactly what it is, but very, very high, very, very fast max tracking speed. Personally, in the way I play, I only max out at about 2 meters per second when I play. I used a SteelSeries Ikari optical for a while, and I would only make that malfunction occasionally, and I think that had a max tracking of like 2.2 meters per second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close this up. We can dive into this a little bit more. If you want to find out more like about the internal components, you can leave a question, leave a comment down below and I'll answer it. But there's also stuff online that you can find out. I do like this black PCB. I'm kind of a sucker for that, but it does look good. There's also, it's hiding, but down here printed on that little white part is the Finalmouse logo, which I do like it when they print their logo on the PCB. I think it looks really professional. So, it looks like the scroll wheel. So I kind of complained earlier about the scroll wheel, the rubber on it. It feels like the same texturing as the rubber up here. It's a rubber texturing. It's not a like actual rubber. It doesn't feel particularly grippy, for how grippy a scroll wheel should be. But it does look like if you remove the scroll wheel, which you can, you just pop it out of the encoder, you could definitely pry up that rubber part. And I know I've done this before. Let's see, my bag of mice. I took a rubber band and I wrapped a rubber band around the scroll wheel. This is an EVGA Torque X5, which is another phenomenal mouse. But the scroll wheel sucked on it. The scroll wheel, the rubber on it would spin as you're trying to turn the wheel. So I literally this is just a rubber band that I just wrapped around there a few times, and it looks ghetto. Camera washes it out where it looks all the same color, but in person this is like beige and this is white, so it looks really ghetto. But the performance is there. This is I can't like make it slip at all. So yeah. Anyway. So with that, I will go ahead and stop the video here. I gotta thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments, leave them below, either like what you want to see about the mouse, or maybe you have some specific questions. I can do, I plan on in the future maybe doing some click latency tests, doing some DPI tests. DPI tests are already online. There isn't too much about click latency though. I know Finalmouse was like, oh yes, we've improved click latency. To which that I say, okay, give us some numbers, because currently Logitech is by far the king. And yeah, so yeah, again, maybe I'll have some future Finalmouse videos coming up. If I end up really liking this, maybe I'll mod it a little bit. Maybe swap out that super bright. Oh, you know what I should have done? Okay, you know what? Before I end the video, I'm gonna try something. So, something funny that I did to one of my other mice was my Microsoft Wheelmouse Optical, which, if you guys don't know what a Wheelmouse Optical is, let's see. It is this old-looking mofo. So this thing has been modded like crazy, and something you can see here. You see that LED in the back there? I'll go ahead and turn this on for you guys. I managed to put an RGB LED in my Wheelmouse Optical, and I'm very happy with it. It's so cheesy, but I love it. And it actually cycles through the colors. This was an LED I pulled out of some $1 free shipping from China eBay mouse. And it honestly, I really, really like it because you can see it on the mouse pad. You can see it changing color on the mouse pad, which I just geek out so hard over. So, yeah, I'm a bit of an RGB fanatic. Not as, you don't see me using a Corsair K70 RGB over here, but I do find it humorous if I can put RGB into something that isn't supposed to be RGB. Particularly like a mouse that's manufactured in 2001. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same. I have my LEDs sitting around somewhere. I think they're here in this bag. I'm going to see if I can actually RGBify my Finalmouse. I'm not going to do any of the soldering in this video. That will be for a future video. Okay. So we gotta find the LEDs. Alright, I see one. Here we go. So that's what an LED looks like, if you guys are curious. Let's go ahead and plug in the Finalmouse. Now let's see if I end up short-circuiting it, or if this actually works. I'll turn off my light so you guys can see a little bit better. Look at that! Now it's green. Now it's going back to whitish blue. Woo! Oh, that looks terrible for you guys, but it is changing color. And it looks like there are 2 LEDs in this sucker. So yep, sure enough, you can make an RGB Finalmouse. Expect that. Oh boy. I wonder if I can get away with, like, you know, selling this and actually maybe selling it for a little bit more than what I normally would be able to if I can put some RGB LEDs in this. So I just think that'd be a hilarious mod. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I'll even do that right now. Honestly, I'm kind of pumped up to do that right now, so I might. Yeah, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. But that's all for this video. I will go ahead and start the live stream in a moment if I don't think anybody's watching right now. Oh, like one person is. Oh, hello, Marso. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that because I'm really pumped to do that now. But to conclude this video, so taking a look at the Finalmouse, thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the insides or if you want to see something from me in the future, please do go ahead and give me a comment below and I'll respond or whatever. If you want to see some gameplay with this, stay tuned for that. That will be coming shortly. And I guess, as always, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.